Today's story is The Fall of Freddie the Leaf. Spring had passed, so had summer. Freddie the Leaf had grown large. His middle section was wide and strong, and his 5 extensions were firm and pointing. He had first appeared in spring as a small sprout on a rather large branch near the top of the tall tree. Freddie was surrounded by hundreds of other leaves just like himself, or so it seemed. Soon he discovered that no 2 leaves were alike, even though they were in the same tree. Alfred was the leaf next to him, Ben was the leaf on the right side, and Claire was a lovely leaf overhead. They had all grown up together. They had learned to dance in the spring breezes, bask lazily in the summer sun, and wash off in the cooling rains. But it was Daniel who was Freddie's best friend. He was the largest leaf on the limb and seemed to have been there before anyone else. And it appeared to Freddie that Daniel was also the wisest among them. It was Daniel who told them that they were part of the tree. It was Daniel who explained that they were growing in a public park. It was Daniel who told them that the tree had strong roots which were hidden in the ground below. He explained about the birds who came to sit on their branch and sing morning songs. He explained about the sun, the moon, and stars, and the seasons. Freddie loved being a leaf. He loved his branch, his light leafy friends, his place high in the sky, the wind that Joyce told him about, the sun rays that warmed him, the moon that covered him with soft white shadows. Summer had been especially nice. The long hot days felt good and the warm nights were peaceful and dreamy. There were many people in the park that summer. They often came and sat under Freddie's tree. Daniel told him that giving shade was part of the purpose. What's the purpose? Freddie had asked. A reason for being, Daniel had answered. To make things more pleasant for others is the reason for being. To make shade for old people who come to escape the heat of their homes is a reason for being. To provide a cool place for children to come and play. To fan with our leaves the picnickers who can't come to eat on checkered tablecloths. There are all reasons for being. Freddie especially liked the old people. They sat so quietly on the cool grass and hardly ever moved. They talked in whispers of time past. The children were fun, too, even though they were sometimes tore holes of bark in the tree or carved their names into it. Still, it was fun to watch them move so fast and to laugh at so much. But Freddie's summer soon passed. It vanished on the October nights. He had never felt it so cold. All the leaves shivered in the cold. They were coated with a thin layer of white which quickly melted and left and dews drenched and sparkling in the morning sun. Again, it was Daniel who explained that they experienced their first frost, the sign that was a fall and that winter would come soon. Almost at once, the whole tree, in fact, the whole park was transformed into a blaze of color. There was hardly a green leaf left. Alfred has turned a deep yellow. Ben had become a bright orange. Claire had become a blazing red. Daniel a deep purple, and Freddie was red and gold and blue. How beautiful the air looked! Freddie and his friends had made their tree a rainbow. Why did we turn different colors? Freddie asked. When we are on the same tree? Each of us is different. We have had different experience. We have faced the sun differently. We have cast shade differently. Why should we not have different colors? Daniel said matter-of-factly. Daniel told Freddie that this wonderful season was called fall. One day a very strange thing happened. The same breezes that, in the past, had made them dance began to push and pull at their stems, almost as they were angry. This caused some of the leaves to be torn from their branches and swept up the wind, tossed about and dropped softly to the ground. All the leaves became frightening. What's happening? They asked each other in whispers. It's what happened in fall, Daniel told them. It's the time for leaves to change their homes. Some call it to die. Will we all die? Freddie asked. Yes, Daniel answered. Everything dies. No matter how big or small, how weak and strong, we first do our job. We experience the sun and the moon, the wind and the rain. We learn to dance, then to laugh, then we die. I won't die, said Freddie with determination. Won't you, Daniel? Yes, answered Daniel. Well, it's my time. When is that? Asked Freddie. No one knows for sure, Daniel responds. Freddie noticed that the other leaves continued to fall. He thought, it must be their time. He saw that some of the leaves lashed back in the wind before they fell. Others simply let go and dropped quietly. Soon the tree was almost bare. I'm afraid to die, Freddie told Daniel. I don't know what's down there. We all fear what we don't know, Freddie. It's natural, Daniel reassured him. Yet, you are not afraid when spring becomes summer. You are not afraid when summer becomes fall. There were natural changes. Why should we be afraid of the season of death? Does this tree die too? Freddie asked. Someday, but there is something stronger than the tree. It is life. That lasts forever, and we are all part of life. Where will we go and when we die? No one knows for sure. That's a great mystery. Will we return in the spring? We may not, but life will. Then what has been the reason with all of this? Freddie continued to question. Why were we here and all it only had to fall and die? Daniel answered in his matter-of-fact way. It's been about the sun and the moon. It's been about happy times together. It's been about the shade and the old people and the children. It's been about colors and fall. It's been about seasons. Isn't that enough? That afternoon, in the golden light of dusk, Daniel let go. He fell effortlessly. He seemed to smile peacefully as he fell. Goodbye for now, Freddie, he said. Then Freddie was alone, the only leaf left on his branch. The first snow in the following morning. It was soft, white and gentle, but it was bitter cold. There was hardly any sun a day, then the day was very short. Freddie found himself losing his color, becoming brittle. It was constantly cold, and the snow went heavy upon him. At dawn, a wind came that took Freddie from the branch. It didn't hurt at all. He felt himself float quietly, gently and softly downward. As he fell, he saw the whole tree for the first time. How strong and firm it was. He was sure that it would live for a long time, and he knew it had been part of his life and made him proud. Freddie landed on his clump of snow. It somehow felt soft and even warm. In his new position, he was more comfortable than he had been. He closed his eyes and fell asleep. He did not know that spring would follow winter and the snow would melt to water. He did not know what had appeared to be useless dry stuff when joined in water and served to make the tree stronger. Most of all, he did not know that there, asleep in a tree and the ground, were already plants with the new leaves in the spring. The end.